Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, Rob. Let's talk about them cats.
Thundercats?
Ho!
Oh my God. If they had an NFL team called the Thundercats, I wouldn't switch allegiances, but I would have a second favorite team. I'll put it that way.
Yes, 100%.
I really, like, God damn, that'd be awesome.
As long as they're not in our division.
Especially if they have, like, uniforms that were, like, the different cats. Like, imagine the quarterback was Lion-O, and they have...
You got Thibodeau, that's Panthera.
Oh, my God. Well, no, Thibodeau sees a Giant. Don't trade Thibodeau to the Thundercats, damn it.
I'm just saying, someone like him. Just a brute. Well, actually, it would probably be Sexy Dex, the brute, or, yeah, Leo.
Sexy Dexy would eat Panthero.
As long as we don't have Snarf on the team.
Ketchup. we had Snarf on the team. It was Joe Judge.
Oh, I was going to say Garrett, but all right. True.
All righty. But yeah, so the Giants played the Carolina Panthers this past Friday here. And whew, there is a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement going on here. And that's weird. Like, that's not a normal Giants fan thing for us to have optimism. And do we ever have optimism?
Yeah.
That's like, whew. But yeah, we're going to have some potential simmer down moments on the show, I think. Some simmer down moments. Because I think we all get too into, like, any game, whether it's a preseason season or regular game, and we get excited or disappointed as if the role's coming to an end week to week. Well, in this one here, woo, overexcitement.
But I think there's a lot of fairness to that overexcitement. But there wasn't enough to be overexcited about.
That's what my whole point is.
Yeah.
So let's get into what everybody's so excited about. And it's the Giants offense. Because we finally saw the starters on Friday night. We finally, after months and months. Let's be honest, the last time we saw the Giants starting offense on the field, it was not pretty. There was the playoff game that we got just spanked by the Eagles. I hate to say it that way because it gives the Eagles credit, but let's be honest, it's called what it is. We got spanked. So, first play of the game, of the offense, I should say, obviously kickoff.
I was about to say.
Second play of the game. Darren Waller starts off with a catch for 7 yards. And everybody's psyched. It's like, okay, here's the first catch of what could be a magical combo, this Jones and Waller combo. Then, second offensive play. Waller catches it again, gets a first down. People are like, ooh. It's Waller-Jones combo. People are already getting excited.
I mean, we're always talking about this all season.
Waller jerseys are getting, like, just blown up on the Giants shop probably at that point. Everybody's, already christening him as the best tight end ever to play for the Giants.
Looking at him and Thibodeau at the same time.
I'm just saying. And then, next play, Waller drops the ball. Should have been caught. Should have been about a 15-yard catch. Drops the ball. I'm not going to crucify the man over one drop. We're not going to be that kind of show. Everybody who plays the game, you're going to drop the ball occasionally. Just don't make it a habit. And he's had a career of not making it a habit. So I'm not going to blow that one out of proportion. Next one. Paris Campbell, catch for 13 yards. Then they try to get a little fancy like Applebee's. Jalen Hyatt, end around, loss of 3. Plus, there was a block in the back penalty on Andrew Thomas that got declined. Now, that was an ugly play. It just looked like it just didn't work. Didn't look like it was bad blocking, bad anything, just flat out just didn't work. Like the defense saw it coming. There wasn't enough people to block for the amount of people that were going towards Jalen Hyatt. Simple math problem there. Next play. Jones runs for 6 after getting a ton of pressure in the pocket there. That man was running for his life. This was not a design run. This was not a design run. Now, probably asking, who did that? And it was Gross Matos came through. Lewinsky was the one who goes ahead and gives gives up the alleyway there, so to speak, to the quarterback. Then Waller catch for 12. Hodgins catch for 20. Campbell catch for 4. Then we get the big play, the touchdown. Double tight end set. We've been dreaming about this whole offseason. Waller, Bellinger, both sitting there. Waller gets double team. Bellinger's wide open. Touchdown. Nice and simple.
Yeah. Before we get into that play, I actually want to rewind a little Quentin Tarantino style right here, real fast. I do want to point out the last catch that Waller had was a beautiful play setup. I don't remember if you recall when he caught that. What was it, like a 12-yard catch? What did you just say?
Which one?
He caught for 12. Waller's catch. So he gets up to the right of the quarterback, right? You had, I think Hyatt came down on the backside and it'll sweep, and there was 3 receivers on the left-hand side that would been able to block. Because of that setup, it gave so many different options, right? So if they double covered Waller, one of those receivers open. If they decided that everyone's coming in at who was going to be eligible to catch the ball, because Waller is he's not a wide receiver, but he's going to be our number 1 receiver.
Weapon X. Yeah.
Guess what? You got someone in the backfield you could throw it back into and still get a positive play out of it. So there's going to be a lot of different mix match plays. Granted, that's what a lot of NFL teams want to do, unless you pretty much line up in the eye. But they were just playing with different plays to see how they could call audibles during the play.
Yeah. And
it worked out where everyone saw I forget who was in the backfield. Was it Hyatt or was it might have been Breda? Whoever it was, when they ran down to the left in the swoop motion, they left Waller for one-on-one coverage, and then he pretty much, within the first 5 yards, just pummeled the cornerback that was on him.
Oh, yeah.
And got wide open.
And there was no stopping this offense. Absolutely perfect drive. I mean, you got Daniel Jones goes 8 for 9, 69 yards, and a touchdown on there, plus obviously the 6 yards rushing as well. You cannot ask for a better drive.
No, it was perfect.
Here's the 2 problems I have with the way Giants fans are acting overall right now. And again, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I want to be a realist. It's one drive, guys. And it's against a team that isn't that good in the Carolina Panthers. That's also missing their top pass rusher in Brian Burns. So I'm not trying to make it seem like this wasn't great. Like, great. Effing spectacular. We did exactly what you wanted to do. The perfect drive. That's great. But it means nothing if that just happens to be the perfect drive and that's not normal for what they're going to do overall. We don't know that yet. So I'm not going to get overhyped about one drive and go, oh, here we go. Giants going to be amazing. I mean, even see guys like Brian Baldinger on the NFL.com going nuts about it too.
You're right. You're correct. I mean, so this is the hype about it. So I agree with what you're saying. You can't base a sample size off of one drive. But you can turn around and look at it and see what they're doing and get excited about the plays or something.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can get excited about it. I'm not saying not to get excited. Not at all. But what I am going to sit there and say is don't get overexcited. Don't act like this is, okay, amazing, we're set, you're good to go now. It's one drive. So let's get excited about the one drive and say, great, it was as perfect a drive as we can have. but I'm definitely hearing some overreactions. So,
correct. I'm just saying there's reasons to be excited, right? We've talked about this all off season where the Belly and Waller line up and there's confusions, and Bellinger is going to get good plays out of Waller taking away defensive men. And that's exactly what he did. That's how we got our first touchdown.
yeah. And like I said, great drive. I have not a single complaint. You know I love to complain. I love to complain. I admit it. But there's just not a single star player on that defense when you take Burns off as far as a pass rusher. What has been the issue the Giants had all last season? It was going against elite pass rushers. And they don't have one.
No. They don't have much of elite, if anything.
No, I mean, it's ridiculous at that point. To sit there and say, okay, we made a great accomplishment against an inferior team missing their best and only decent pass rusher. So I think the big thing is get excited about what we had. But at the same point, don't sit there and say this is definite. This is what it's going to be like all season long. But like I said, I don't want to temper it at that point. Be excited, but be realistic.
Yes, correct.
Like I said, it was great.
Be excited, not because DJ went 8 for 9, not because we got a touchdown and opening drive. I mean, that's great things to be excited about, but I would be excited more about how they changed up and made the offense and how the offense set up and moved differently from last year to make them look better. Granted, we beat up on a bad team, but that's what you're supposed to do with bad teams.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, again, I don't want to try to be the Debbie Downer about it. I'm just trying to be the realist. All right. Let's go over the defense. So, first defensive series, again, as perfect a series as you could, go over here. Panthers are 3-and-out. You could easily say they shouldn't have been 3-and-out. I mean, Mingo, I know John's in the comment section. I saw him. Mingo should have had a catch on Banks. That would have been a first down. But he slowed up during the route. The timing was off. If you rewatch it, I rewatched it a couple of times because John, and like I said, I know you're in the chat room. I see you there with a comment already. And I was looking to see specifically what happened on that play. And if you watch that play over, Mingo seemed to slow down his route. And if you remember, one of the things that I had said to you when we watched him on tape, I said, he seems to take plays off even mid-play. He doesn't seem to give it 100%. That was my issue with him. And I saw it on that play. That was my issue with him. He should have had it. But because he slowed down one step, because I don't know if he just didn't think the ball was coming to him or whatever the case may be, the ball did come to him, but not where he was. Where he should have been, but not where he was. But because of that, 3-and-out Panthers. Nice and simple. It's perfect to drive again, as you can want. So you got perfect offensive drive, perfect defensive drive. Offensive starters go right back out. So just go back into the backups there. Defense comes back on the field one more series like that with starters. One thing you see in the very beginning is the Panthers were starting to do a little bit of running on the Giants, specifically towards the outside. And the announcer said it. Pretty much anybody who had a set of eyes saw it. Kayvon needs a better job as he's pass rushing to set the edge. Again, you're talking a second-year player. I think he will gain that as he goes. I do think he's probably more focused on fixing the pass rushing overall and getting better at that because, let's be honest, that's where pass rushers make money. Why they're called pass rushers.
Yeah.
Kayvon wants that money. Kayvon wants the fame. He wants that stuff, and that's fine with that as long as it doesn't affect how he plays. I think he's going to focus on perfecting on that stuff more. He's going to focus on perfecting the running part. But he needs to work on the running part because there's a couple of times where he was out of position to stop the run and not hold that outside edge because he was focused on trying to get to the quarterback. So just something he has to keep an eye on, I think, there. Then Mingo got a nice catch. See, John is not just bad against Mingo. Mingo had a nice catch on Jason Pinnock. And Pinnock tried to basically hit him instead of tackling him, which is part of why it became a really nice play for the Panthers overall. Then Jihad Ward, neutral zone infraction. Adam Thielen then gets a nice third down catch on Adoree Jackson. Then, again, Mingo with the issues again. Mingo and Young had issues. Then on first down, Mingo stopped on a route. And Young threw it. And the way he threw it was like a hitch and go, basically. So for those that know what a hitch and go is, basically you stop like a small, like almost like a hook route 5 yards. And then it's stopping, instead of stopping for that hook, as soon as that corner bites, you turn back around and jet. So he stopped at the 5, didn't go and jet. Where it's pretty obvious that that's what Young was expecting him to do. So for whatever reason, he didn't. I can't sit there and say that's his fault. I can't sit there and say it's Young's fault. I don't know the playbook. So, but I would think Bryce Young knows the playbook. I would hope he would know the playbook.
You would hope so.
That's an issue if you don't. So I would say it's likely Mingo's fault, but without knowing the playbook, I'm not going to sit there and say either way. Then Dexter Lawrence gets in Young's face while he's trying to swipe the ball as he's about to throw it. 15 yards, first down penalty. Then a nice run stop by Hawkins. Nice to see young corner Trey Hawkins there. But Banks got a neutral zone infraction call. So ironically, good move by rookie, bad move by rookie, and the play didn't happen, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. Then Kayvon, we're talking about him a minute ago, takes on a double team, helps clog the hole in a run play, and the Giants get a nice run stop because of the fact they literally had 2 guys that Thibodeau was taking on. Then Kayvon Thibodeau gets a sack.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We saw this big old sack.
Whoa. Then
I'm Bryce Young.
Delay a game called on Bryce Young. He had to go, collect his balls that were on the ground. Then it was a nice catch by Hayden Hurst on Trey Hawkins. Got called back because of holding an offense. I mean, they ended up 3rd and 31 because of the delay game, the sack, the holding call. Like that was a drive they had going there, and it just got messed up like you would not believe. Ends up with the short pass to G.J. Shark. Next, it's a 37-yard field goal. So that's our starters overall on defense, and I can't complain again about a single thing they did on defense. But I will say this: you're not going to face a rookie quarterback every week.
No, especially not next week.
No. Next week, you know what? As much as we're not going to probably see much of the starters, I think next week, personally, I'm kind of curious. I'd like to see them almost play because the Jets are a much better team than the Panthers are, and it kind of give us a better idea of what we got.
I mean, they already announced that Aaron Rodgers started the game, which
yes.
The guy hasn't played in preseason, in like 4 seasons, 5 seasons, especially on the 3rd week.
He's been spelunking.
Yeah. With the mushrooms, getting the good ones.
Oh, yes. Go into the caves.
I would like to see it, but you made the really solid point last week. Why show them what we got in our starters?
I know.
If we're going to have to play them again.
Like I said, we're going to have to play the regular
season. At the same time, I want to see it.
I do. I want to know, should we be excited about this drive that the offense had? Because let's be honest, we're not worried about the defense. We think the defense will be probably fine. And I'm not saying they're going to be spectacular, but they're not going to embarrass us. Wink Martindale's a damn good DC. Though I do think a lot rolls on how these rookies play. And I think a lot of people, less people are scared on that than they probably should be. Starting 2 rookies on the outside corner positions is not a typical thing that works out well for you. But we have faith.
It's normally hard with 1 rookie on the outside, and we're doing 2.
But we have faith because we have Wink. We trust Wink. So
we trust.
On the offense, we trust Kafka, but we've been burned for so many goddamn years on the offense side that to see an actual legit modern offense for even 1 series has got the freaking Giant fans all excited, like they just got back from an LT Coke party. I'm just saying,
or the morning after prom. Yes.
Is the morning after prom like an LT Coke party for you?
Yes.
I went to your prom, didn't I? I think I went to your prom.
You went
Yes,
to one.
I went to your prom. I went to one of your proms. I can't remember which one.
I was in a lot of them.
No, you only had two that were yours. I went to one that was yours.
No, I went to one that was yours.
You went to one that was mine? I didn't go to my proms.
All right, so we went to mutual friends' proms.
I remember I went to a friend's prom because she didn't have a date, so I'll take you. And then next thing I know, you were there. I thought it was your junior prom.
No, it was a sophomore at the time.
Okay, who knows? Whatever. We were promming it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, they did good. The defense, though, overall, the offense did good overall. We can't have a single complaint about the starting players overall. If you want to nitpick, you can say, Sexy Dexy had a couple of penalties on him. Neutral zone infraction, rough at the passer one. I mean, a couple of things, like that. But again, a guy with a proven track record not making bonehead moves, I'm not going to nitpick. I'm not going to harp on that stuff.
Yeah.
So overall, great. And then you come out of it, and we think no one got injured. So we're excited. No one got injured. Everything looks good. Good. No, don't knock on wood because we're about to burst bubbles here in a minute. So, it all looked good. Now we did find out today. That's why I say don't knock on wood. Jason Pinnock did get hurt. I hadn't heard any official info on when he got hurt yet. Was it during the game? Was it during practice here? But he does have a leg injury. So we'll have to see overall, what's going to happen with him. Because let's be honest, guys, he's a starter. And he's looked damn good. He's basically going to be the new Julian Love for us there. So we'll have to see what happens overall. Let's get into some of the comments here before we start going on kind of generalized thoughts on the backups and, some of the position battles and all we've been talking about there. First comment from John, breaking our cherry here. He says, are we live? It recorded? Usually you not in this fast. No, we were in fast. So for those people, and that's weird, John was on YouTube, but those who are on Facebook watching us live here, there was an issue for some reason with the feed and didn't come on for a couple of minutes on just Facebook for some reason. I was worried we weren't going to be live on Facebook today, but it went on eventually. We just had a couple minutes there. John said, Mingo Squad, hey fools, I'm open. He was open, and then he messed up a drive. JJ said, what up, goofballs? What up, JJ?
What's up, JJ?
John says, don't worry, it's preseason. My boy will bowl out in regular season and playoffs. I'm calling it now again, John. He will not. He will be a decent receiver in this league, but he'll never be a star, in my opinion.
And he definitely will not be in the playoffs this year. He's in a terrible division, probably on the worst team in that terrible division.
Yeah. No, I actually think the Panthers could have a good chance of winning the division, actually. It all depends on how Young progresses over the season. There's not a single good team in that division.
No, it's all terrible.
Yeah, it's really not. It's like
it's probably the Saints.
That's the new NFC least. Yeah. We need like a rhyming word with South. I can't think of one right now. We'll think of it later. So JJL says BFW will make the team. And then he says Gunner. And I don't see it personally. I really don't. So that's Bryce Ford Wheaton, by the way. People are confused in the anagram he's given there. I don't know. We're going to go over later on this week, actually, and do a show on guessing the 53-man roster. We're going to have that Thursday for you guys there. So we'll see between now and Thursday what we think for sure. But I definitely lean towards no right now, just if I had to give a quick answer without actually, doing much research on everything I want to look at yet. But I do think he'll be on the practice squad.
Yeah, if he didn't play, he didn't look good at all the first week. This week he looked pretty good, but he's still there's so much going on there. That position just has too many players that are playing for that position.
Yeah,
very generalized, but there's a lot of guys in that room.
He's a developmental player. We said that when we got him.
Yeah,
don't get excited about a guy who came in undrafted. That means not just us, but 32 teams passed on him 7 times. And that's not to say that undrafted guys don't ever work out. Obviously, Victor Cruz. But for every Victor Cruz, there's 1,000 guys who don't even make it past the preseason. So
maybe more.
Yeah. John says, when I hear Tibbs, it makes me think of cheese cracker sticks I loved called tidbits. Tidbits is a completely different thing. It may have sticks involved, but it's usually a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And then Rob, your dad's on. He says, hello.
Hi, Dad.
And then John says, Roberto's back by the creepy cabinets. Listen, Roberto's back with a headset, a laptop, and a microphone. Look at it. It's like a brand new Roberto. It's a brand new Roberto. You know what? I
get some of my technical issues fixed.
I think. I was going to try to put you.
Hey.
It doesn't want to put you on for some reason.
Hey.
So there we go. There he is. There's that Roberto. There he is. This whole new setup there. Solar Brother
Brand
number one.
phone.
What's up, Goofballs?
Fantastic.
I hope the starters don't play Saturday night. Yeah, dude, what's up, man? We're with you. Because of the fact we're playing the Jets later on the season, you don't want to show. Part of me wants to see it though, just because I want to see if this was a fluke, and we shouldn't be as excited as we are. Even as I'm sitting there saying, "Don't get excited," it's hard not to get excited watching that first team offense and what they did. It's really difficult not to get excited.
So, we're talking not to get excited. So, I get why Giants fans are excited, right? Yeah. We had a mediocre team last year that played great because of great coaching. And everyone wanted to get DJ out of there, right? But last year, real fast, do you know what, Drew? I'm going to throw 3 stats at you. Let's see if you know them. Daniel Jones, his completion stats last year. Do you know what he had?
I don't have that number in front of me, no.
67.2. You know where he fell in the NFL with that? 4th.
Yeah, say top 5.
Last year, you probably know this one pretty close to it. Interceptions.
I know it's very low.
Yeah, he finished first in NFL with the least amount of interceptions.
Yeah.
His QBR rating.
Are you giving me stats? There.
60.8. I'm just saying, with a terrible team. This is why people are getting excited.
I listen. I hear all this.
Six in the NFL, right? So now you have better weapons. Barkley doesn't have to run all the time. That's why people are getting excited. Because if you could look at what average players did for this team and compare it to what they just did in that one drive, granted, it's the one drive, which is
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not overexcited, but I
guarantee you we can pinpoint drives last year that Daniel Jones went 8 of 9 for 69 yards.
Oh, you're probably right. But I'm just saying, it's the way they did it. They had more weapons. They were more versatile, and they had more play setups. They were more deceiving. And I think we're going to be a sneaky, good team with a lot of good deep plays.
Oh, yeah.
With still with a good run. Hyatt, we'll get to Hyatt, too, in a little bit. But, he didn't look so good with the first team, but he also showed a lot of potential where he's going to be a threat later this season. I don't think he's going to be a threat the first 4 to 6 weeks.
I think he will. I think he'll become more of a threat as the time goes on.
Yes. I shouldn't say he's not going to be a threat. He's definitely going to be a threat. You have to respect the speed. 24 miles an hour is pretty darn fast. And if you're not zoning and man covering him, think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast. But if you're not, zoning and man covering this guy, and then you have to do it to Waller, where's everyone else?
What's interesting about that first drive, though, I thought, is it's almost like the Giants scripted it, like a welcome pamphlet, there. You got Jones goes right for Waller, Campbell, Hyatt, Waller, Hodgins, Campbell, and then Bellinger. Besides one catch by Bellinger and one catch by Hodgins, he went 100% to the new guys.
Yeah, and let's. I don't think we even said it. Do we even bring it up? Barkley didn't play.
No,
Barkley did not play. So that last year, Oh, DJ only threw so good because he had Barkley in the backfield there, and everyone had worried about Barkley running. Our run game was lackluster. They purposely ran like that in that offense.
We'll get into the run game in a minute overall because that's going to be the not so pretty side of this conversation again today. All right, we got a couple more comments here. John says, next up, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, yes. Do the discount double check. Then he says, no, Nit Pinnock, which I think he means not Pinnock. Like I said, we haven't heard much info yet. But let's see what happens there. And he says, yes, I tried it. That's why I came back to YouTube. I guess he had the issues with the Facebook there. He also said, what's up, Daddy Donnelly? AJ says, what RD will do to Aaron Rodgers is going to shut a lot of people up about things. Pause. We can't pause. It's a live broadcast.
Hammer time.
I'm upset. But I don't think our starting defense will play. I really don't. I think all the starters are pretty much going to be out next week. I think it's all going to be about figuring out the back end of that roster and the backups and the position battles, and that's pretty much it.
You might see a drive. I don't expect much.
I don't think you'll see it at all. I really don't.
Because they know.
We lost you there, Rob.
They know for the most part who's starting where and what they're going to do. I'm right here. They know for the most part who's going to start and what their role is. They may still keep a couple rookies out for a few drives, but knowing what happened last year to our rookies, I don't see them playing half like a lot of people think. A lot of people think these starters are going to play half the game. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we'll see our starters at all. I really don't. I think you'll see the Jets for a little bit, like a series or two, and that's it. Keep in mind, it's not just that we play the Jets later on the season. The Jets play us later on the season too. So, but we'll talk about that on Wednesday mornings. That's when we have our preview episode for the game there. Let's go over other news and notes here for the game because there was some other things besides just the starters, and everybody wants to hype about the starters the whole time here. First off, how nice was it seeing Sterling Shepard back in a Giants uniform on the field?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Just not where he played, but it was nice to see.
Yeah, I mean,
can't be mad.
It's a little interesting to see him come in on a second quarter as opposed to being there with the starters. He had one catch overall for 6 yards, was only targeted the one time, so nothing crazy there. But like I said, I think it was pretty interesting to see, at least him back on the field. And I'm hoping they're not putting him back in the field just for a final run because if he doesn't make the team, let's be honest, his career may be over. So, and there's not a lock. It's not a lock he makes his team, guys.
No, it's not.
Not with the rest of the way they have it right.
So, should we have an over-under? What's the odds that he retires before week 1 of regular season?
I don't think we do. We do that Thursday. We do that Thursday on the roster breakdown with our prediction show for the final 53-man roster there. Because I think that's going to be, very interesting. I think, again, you got 52 spots to fill out. And you're going to have to cut some people. And people are going to be upset with some of the people we cut. And guess what? This is maybe one of them. We'll let you guys know on Thursday who we think. And obviously next week we'll do our actual show when they do the actual cuts, overall. So we give you guys the final roster. So let's dive into some other thoughts here in the game here. We got to talk about the speedster we started talking about before. The Flash himself, our own Barry Allen, Jalen Hyatt. So he dropped a pass. Let's get that out of the way. He drops a pass. Again, not going to harp on one drop. We all will drop things occasionally. It just thinks that we had 2-star players dropping passes in the same first half there. But drops the pass. And they go, oh, that's not a good look for a rookie in this, second preseason game. Then the next play, they go right back to him. And guess what? He's wide the freak open for a touchdown. I mean, this man had a good 10 yards between him and any defender. I
was going to say, he had such separation that he slowed down into that end zone. And like you said, it was probably a good 10 yards of separation. And by the time he got the ball, there was still about 5 yards of separation.
Yeah. Because he floated that pass in. He floated that pass. I mean, I could have thrown a pass faster than that guy did. Oh my God. Tyrod Taylor's just like, boom. It was ridiculous.
Like doves just flying out.
Yes. And they had a safety on him. And I think this was going to be a lesson to the NFL, this play. You cannot put a safety on this man. You cannot. You better put the fastest damn corner you have, because he is potentially the fastest player in the entire NFL. You can't put a safety on him. You have to put a corner. I'm not saying you put your number one corner on him, but you have to put a corner on him.
You have to respect him.
That. Yes. You know, and
he clocked in. I don't know if you saw it. Like, he clocked in as the fastest guy in the NFL at 24 miles an hour.
He clocked in unofficially at that. He hasn't been officially clocked by the NFL. That's why I say he's arguably the fastest man in the NFL, because he did technically beat Tyreek Hill's time on the practice field, but it hasn't been done in a game yet to verify his time and all. So, but either way, he's still worst case scenario, top 3, top 5 fastest player in the NFL. You need to go ahead and respect that speed, and that was not respect. So he took advantage of it, as he's supposed to do. Glad to see it. I like to see players succeed early on, because even a little success, like one play at getting a touchdown like that, builds up their confidence so much. And a lot of who succeeds and doesn't succeed in the NFL is based on confidence. Because if you think you belong, you will belong. That's very true. The mindset is one thing that you never hear people talk about enough with rookies. If they think they belong, they will belong. And that's something that's partially on them, but it's partially on the team to make them feel like they belong right off the bat. And it was a good play. It was a spectacular catch. It was nice to see him do it right after a drop, because it kind of makes you forget the drop to a certain degree. And like I said,
and the negative yards play before that.
Yeah.
Just like you said, this is why we have preseasons. This way you could go out there, you do those plays, he gets negative yards, he drops a catch, and then guess what? 34 yards? Was it?
Yeah.
37 yards?
Yeah.
Like
33 yards.
33. All right. Yeah. That's why you have preseasons. Yeah.
That's exactly why you do, because you're building up that kind of confidence in them. Now, speaking of people that deserve no confidence, though, in the opposite spectrum, we're talking about Matt Corral and how crappy he looked. Oh my God! From a guy who just got drafted last year, and the Panthers were kind of touting him as the potential guy of the future. I mean, obviously, they didn't think that this past draft, or they wouldn't have drafted the number 1 overall player and traded to get the number 1 overall player. But this kid is only 24 years old still, going into his second season, and
not eating at the Golden Corral.
Yeah, listen, at this point he's going to be a server at the Golden Corral who keeps this up. Holy shit. Like, it was just not a good game. I saw a lot on film that just did not look good, and I don't blame the Panthers at all for going, hold on, this is not the answer, we need to move on. I mean, let's be honest, the only guy who's actually saying, hey, this guy might be the answer is the Falcons with Ritter, and obviously the Commanders here with Howell. The rest of the mid-round picks, I'll say it that way, they're kind of moving on. Corral's kind of moving on. Obviously Malik Willis in Tennessee, they're kind of moving on. But yeah, Matt Corral definitely looked like it was the right decision to move on from him and not look at him as a potential future starter. He did just, like I said, just not look good. Up to down, not look good. You know who did look good? You know who did look good?
Not our second string, but our third string.
Thomas Danny DeVito. I don't know if Danny's his middle name, but I'm going to call him that from now on. Thomas Danny DeVito.
TDD.
Like I said, did not look amazing. Like, I'm not hyping this man up as a future quarterback star in this league.
We're not doing a Davis Webb all over again.
But he's got potential to be a backup in this league. And for a guy that was undrafted to step in, and people talk so much trash about him in the beginning of the practices, and rightfully so. I saw plays, he looked horrible. Absolutely horrible. But he's obviously been working at his craft.
It is hard to fill Davis Webb's shoes.
Listen, it's not. Davis Webb was not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. He just was not a good quarterback.
He was a great third string. What are you talking about?
If he was a good quarterback,
Preseason hero.
He wouldn't be a quarterback coach.
Third string.
I'm just saying.
Third string.
Those who can't do teach. That's why he's a coach.
He's a great third string.
Yeah.
Touche.
So, Tommy DeVito was 9-11, 88 yards on the day. All the quarterbacks actually played really well. Tyrod Taylor, 9-13 for 90 yards. Like I said, I gave you DeVito's number, I gave you Jones' numbers. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions of the day from all 3 quarterbacks. Can't complain. QB rating of 118.1. All of them played well. But I want to give DeVito credit on one play specifically.
Was it Jones? Jones had what? Oh, I was going to say what Jones had 8 complete passes, and then DeVito and Taylor had 9 each.
Yes.
So it was
26 to 33 overall between the 3. But the big one I want to give DeVito credit for is he was about to be sacked in the game. Spun out of the sack. Literally spun. I thought he was down already. Spun. Ran forward. Did his job. Got out. Made the best he could have a really crappy play otherwise. I give him a lot of credit for that play specifically. That shows me a lot. That shows me this is a guy in a meaningless, let's be honest, call it what it is, meaningless game against the Panthers for a preseason game. This guy's playing his ass off. Giving it everything.
Competitor.
Refusing to go down. That's the guy who wants to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
We talked about, Mingo before, right? I question sometimes his love of the game just based on how he plays. I know John will hate me saying that because he's a big Mingo fan. I don't question DeVito.
Not anymore.
You could tell he loves playing football. You could tell this man he'd be the 6th-string quarterback he'd sign up. You can tell he's that guy who just loves the sport. And you got to respect and root for a guy who does that. Because a lot of players don't. A lot of players are in for the paycheck.
6th-string quarterback. So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't make this team, I guarantee you see him in the XFL, the USFL, one of those minor leagues there, because he just loves the game.
Oh, 100%. If he's not a Giant, I think he'll still be in the NFL. I think he'll be backing up someone else.
He didn't play 20 years in college not to make it this far. It feels like that the way some of these guys are playing coming out. We did have another problem come up as well that we got to discuss. Now, the people who had this problem, we probably may not see very much of in the regular season, if at all. We had the drop season, the oopsies again on defense.
Whoopsie.
Like, literally, the Panthers were throwing the ball to our corners as if they were wearing the Panthers uniform.
It's like twice in a row.
So, it was twice in a row for Gilbert. He dropped it both times. Darnay Holmes dropped one too. That's 3 dropped interceptions in one game where they literally hit him in the chest or in the hands.
What was the last dropped interception? Was that Holmes or Gilbert? Because that was at the end of
Gilbert
the day,
was the last 2. Last 2 was Gilbert, and it was on the same drive. It was within a couple plays apart. Yeah. That's it.
But but if we would have got the interceptions, we would have been starting 20 yards back.
Listen, I'm not
From
upset about the
further
fact that he didn't
back
get it
from the
in the
end
end.
zone.
But let's not kid ourselves and say he didn't catch the ball for field positioning. Let's not kid ourselves and give that BS, because Banks and Bob Pop were talking about that as well. But they knew better. They were just trying to put some lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
And nobody's trying to say Zion Gilbert made this amazing mental move to not catch the interception for field position on a game that, let's be honest, was over anyway. It was over. It was a close game. It was over. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to fight their butt off to win it. It was a preseason pointless game.
Hey, listen, it was a Friday night. It was late into the night for these guys. It was a Friday night, late into the night.
They wanted to go party.
Pig with lipstick might have been doing the job.
I'm just saying. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. All right, let's get the rest of these comments here. Then we go through some more stuff here for you. All right, let's see here. Where are we here? Oh, there we go. Okay. John says, "Hope you're right, JJ." That's about having starters in there during the Jets preseason game. JJ says, "We will trust," and he says, "I mean, so did the Panthers." I don't know which one he meant on that one. I mean, so did the Panthers. John says, "Daddy Donnelly, Roberto is not your son. I am your son. Search your feelings. You know it to be true." Oh my! Time for the restraining order, John. Deb chimes in. What's up, Deb? Says, Mike Glennon was our best backup quarterback. Sarcasm. Yeah, I think we all know it's Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm was clearly our best backup quarterback. Jake is now officially at State Farm, probably. Actually, I think someone picked him up this offseason. I think they did. I think he's back on a roster somehow. I don't know how. He must be the nicest guy in the world, because it's the only way that makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah, he plays for the Commanders right now. And the Commanders got a chance to see him when they played against us 2 years ago. So you would think they would know better. John says, "I lost money on that pick in the fourth." Well, why would you gamble on a meaningless preseason game? You never know what's going to happen in those games. You never do. Yeah. All right, let's get on to the offensive line here, because we talked about that Brian Burns was out. I wish he was playing. I would have loved that test for the offensive line and to see what would happen. But we got to talk about Evan Neal seeing his first preseason action all offseason here. Played pretty decent, I thought, for the most part. I
was going to say, he looked pretty good up until that low tackle.
I'm going to say
I wouldn't say great.
Decent. I'm saying decent. I'm not even saying good. He looked decent. And I'm fine with decent. We've talked about this 10 times already on the podcast. I'm okay with him being an average tackle this season. And don't get me wrong, I don't want him to be average. I want him to be elite. But if he's even average, this offensive line is going to look 10 times better, because I think John Michael Schmitz is going to be a really good center for us. And obviously Andrew Thomas is Andrew Thomas. But he looked decent. He looked okay. But he did give up a sack at the end of the half. And it was on a stunt that got messed up. Basically, for those who don't know what was going on, the two defensive linemen basically flip-flopped. So the outside guy went inside, the inside guy went outside. When that happens, as offensive lineman, you got to pop off the guy you're on and move over to the guy. Evan Neal didn't move over right. And when that happened, he ended up giving up a sack as a result. So, again, same as I mentioned with guys like Waller, I'm not going to knock somebody on one bad play. You know, you can sit there and you can overanalyze these preseason games so much it's not even funny. And we all do it. Because we have a little sample size. We have to pack in a whole bunch of thoughts based on a little sample size. But
pretty much,
again, it makes us think that he probably is improved where he was last year. But he's maybe not where everybody's hoping he's going to be, as far as, you know, an above average to elite kind of player yet. Let's see if he turns into that. But it's not going to happen overnight, especially when he's, you know, seeing his first action in weeks because of concussion protocol and that kind of stuff there. So I'm okay with how he looked. Not excited about it, but I'm okay with it. I'm indifferent.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying, okay, I said, I think of where he was and how he, well, circumstances of being in a concussion protocol. Like, I think he looked good for where he was.
Yeah, like I said, we'll see. We need to see more sample size to see overall. Let's take a look at the guards, because that's the other big thing, the guards. What's going to happen at the guards? And the big thing I'm looking at during this week is, where is Ben Bredesen playing? Because if he's at the right side, you know Izudu's at the left. If he's on the left, you know that Grulinski's on the right. And they're doing the shuffle. They're doing the guard shuffle. Not to be confused with the truffle shuffle.
Somewhere.
Yeah. So, don't do the truffle shuffle, Rob. Don't do the truffle shuffle. Don't do it. So Ben Bredesen had 10 snaps at left guard. He had 44 at right guard. What does that tell you guys? Josh Izudu still had a pretty good amount of time, that means. Oh, no, he still did the truffle shuffle in the background. But yeah, I think the big thing is that tells you what I've been saying all along. The Giants want Josh Izudu to win the spot. The Giants want Mark Lewinsky on the bench. But in the end, they're going to put whoever they think is the best player. And if it comes down to a tie, Josh Izudu is going to win in the tie against Mark Lewinsky. And this is because they drafted Izudu. They want Izudu. He's the potential long-term. He has better room for growth than Lewinsky does at this point. Let's be honest. Lewinsky's like 30 years old. He is what he is. Josh Izudu is still going to get better over time as he learns. Knock on wood, hopefully. Assuming he fixes his technique issues and all. So, honestly, if I had to pick, which obviously I have no say in whatsoever, I'm putting Izudu and Bredesen in there at this point and sitting Mark Lewinsky to be the most expensive backup guard you'll have in the NFL.
You have to at this point.
You don't have to. That's the thing. You don't. Because you could easily say that Lewinsky is still the better player right now. But in the long-term interest of the team, it's probably the better move to make.
Yes.
Because they're so close. It's not like you're like, okay, we got this star guard. We have this not looking so good guard. You have two below-average looking guards. Call it what it is.
I mean, but Bredesen has obviously been the guy that's probably looked the best.
Bredesen's on the field no matter what. Either one of those scenarios, Bredesen is starting. It's just a matter of where he starts, the left or the right. He is starting either way.
Yes.
No doubt in that. So it's just a matter of Lewinsky or Izudu. Because I don't want this shuffle going during the season. I'm very big on continuity on the offensive line.
Get your best five and put them in.
Exactly. That's what we need to see here. So we'll see overall. But I said, based on those stats, that tells you Izudu was the one being paired with Ben Bredesen a whole lot more than Lewinsky was.
100%.
So whatever that means, we'll take it for what it is. And then, of course, as I already mentioned, JMS, big fan, becoming more of a big fan every time I see this kid play. Looks very good again. Looks very good again. So, I think he's going to be a nice upgrade at the center position for us. I really do. Then we got to go on to the sad news. The dearly departed. And not Rob, because he stepped away for a brief second here. But we lost a corner here. Before the game, it was announced that Rodarius Williams was not dressing up for the game. Put it this way, guys. When you're on the bubble and you don't dress for a game, that's not a good sign. So, of course, on Saturday, Rodarius Williams was cut by the New York Giants. Ironically, the same day the Eagles cut Greedy Williams, his relative there, both Williams corners getting cut on the same day. And this was a long time coming. Remember last year, he was out there, blasting the Giants on Twitter. Eventually took it down. Hasn't really seen the field too much. Hasn't looked horrendous in time he's played. But for whatever reason, the Giants don't like him. And I'll say this, based on the Twitter issues last year and all, you got to say there's probably some maturity issues, which is crazy because he is, came into the league basically already older. I mean, this was a guy that came into the league and was basically the same age as a 3-year player at that point. He was, he wasn't a 21-year-old player coming out of college or anything like that. He's 26 years old right now, guys. He's only played in the league 2 years. 26 years old. This come when you're usually in your second contract. I think he's a player that probably got a little bit of growing up to do, and unfortunately probably cost him a chance at the NFL. Obviously, I have no behind-the-scenes knowledge, but I can just look at the tape, look at the play, and say, okay, wasn't stellar, but wasn't horrible. Then I can look at what he did as far as the Twitter and how he reacted to those kind of stuff and say, probably maturity issues. So I think that's what happened there. But, we'll see what comes up later on. This stuff usually has a way of finding its way out to the open doors later on. So we'll keep an eye on that one there for you. Let's talk about a player who didn't get cut, though. An absolute freaking beast. Absolute stud at the linebacker position.
Cheesecake. I mean, what?
Cheesecake. It's carrot cake. Wrong cake. Wrong cake.
Damn.
Damn it, now I want a cheesecake and a carrot cake. Bobby Okereke. Absolute freaking beast. 7 tackles on the game. Led the Giants in tackles overall. And just looked really freaking good.
Looks like the guy that we just spent money off making one of the first transactions this past offseason. Like,
what was nice though is he went ahead and read plays. That's what he did. He didn't do natural, try to go ahead and do. You watch some players and it's instinctual what they do, and sometimes they get applauded for that. Because in some positions, you have to move quick. Especially line. That's one of the spots where the second that thing snaps, somebody's on you. You got to be able to, whether offense or defense, you got to be able to move quick. Linebacker is the quarterback of the defense. You have to sit there and let the play develop a second and see where you're best suited to go. Obviously, unless you're on coverage like that. But in most running plays, that's what you're doing. And Bobby Okereke does that very well. And proved that on Friday night. He was all over the field, moved into the right spot, broke up some run plays pretty early on, and he's going to be exciting to see, especially because when you get put Sexy Dexy and Leonard Williams on that middle, good luck getting past them to go cover Bobby Okereke so he can't break up the run. That's going to be a nice defense, I really think. Again, as long as the corners can hold their own. I'm excited to see Bobby Okereke this regular season. I really am.
Oh, yeah. The amount of tackles he had last year.
Tacos.
Yeah.
We have nachos, too.
Tackles, not tacos.
I said tacos. Yes. It's not like tacos. It's not like you said tacos. I was like, why are you bringing up how many tacos he had? But okay, whatever. I'm not going to knock it. I like tacos.
He's got to keep his weight on.
So let's go into the biggest issue that we've had this preseason so far, and that's the running game. We talked about how horrendous it was in the first week. Let me give you the stats on our running backs in this game. If you don't have a puke bucket with you, you might want one. I'm just saying it's that bad. Eric Gray led the running backs with 16 yards. He read the running backs. He did that on 5 carries, folks. That's a 3.2 yard carry average. Again, he got his first touchdown. So kudos to him on getting his first touchdown. It's still a win for him overall. But I'll say he needs to improve his game.
That touchdown play was a 9-yard play.
Yes.
So factor that in.
Do the math.
So factor that into the equation.
Yeah. 9 yards. That means the rest of them are 4 for 7. That's not good. So, part of it is you have to question, was it the offensive line not being very good? Because, again, the backup offensive line was not very good. Was it an issue, with him not hitting the hole? Because one play, it was a 3rd and 1. Dable, You know, every game, Dable gives a death stare to somebody over something. That with the death stare, because he went into the hole, went to kick it outside, and got hit. And I don't mean like he did a Saquon where he backed up 3 yards, tried to use his speed and get around. He just thought he'd shift over to the left and find a spot to go.
Yeah.
Should have hit the hole. That's what you do. 3rd and 1, hit the damn hole. His pass blocking was also pretty suspect for a lot of the game as well. I don't know. The more and more I see Eric Gray, I'm still not convinced he was the right move to make in the draft. The rest of the draft has been so good. I'm trying not to harp on that. I'm really not trying to harp on it because of the fact that the rest of the draft was very, very good. But I didn't like him when we drafted him. I didn't see anything too crazy special when we got him. I still don't see it. Prove me wrong, Eric. I would freaking love it. But that to me looks like a mistake pick all day long. Listen, I'd be happy for it. Next running back, James Robinson. 4 carries, 10 yards, 2.5 yard average. And it is so obvious that James Robinson has just lost anything that made him special as a player with the injuries he's had in his career. He's slow as hell, doesn't look good. And the scary thing is, we said we want to talk about the Eric Gray thing with a 9 yard. 4 for 10, he had a 6 yard run. So three carries for 4 yards, the rest of them. Not good. And then, the worst one. Deshaun Corbin. 7 carries, 5 yards. The 0.7 yards average. Here's the scary thing for you. He had a 9 yard run. I got to tell you this, folks. The stats are not going to back it up. But if you look at Corbin, he, to me, looked the best of the running backs we saw in this game. Again, we talk about 9 yard runs. So obviously, there was some negative yards in this 7 carries for 5 yards. There was also, he had 1 or 2 plays called back as a penalty that looked good as well. I would hope, and I don't know that that's going to happen, but I would hope to see Corbin against better talent. I don't want to see him just the 3rd and 4th. I want to see him early in the game against the Jets. I want to see what he can do because Eric Gray, not look good. James Robinson is poop. He's done.
Yes.
You haven't seen Gary Brightwell. We talked about that. He's had an injury. I really thought we'd see him in that first week, but I guess he had an injury that was holding him back a little bit. Still haven't seen him. You know, like I said, it's hard to get excited about any of these running backs. And Corbin's the one guy who showed me something. Again, the stats won't show it. If you look at just the stats, you're going to sit there and say, Drew's freaking nuts. And you're not wrong. But if you watch the actual film, he looks better than the other 3. And that's not saying much. That's not me saying Corbin is a great player. But the other one's been very underwhelming.
Yeah.
And Corbin's at least showing occasional little bit of sizzle. So he had the big run in the first week. He said a couple nice runs this second week here. I'd like to see it. I don't think we're going to see it. I think they're sold on, having a Barkley, Breda, Brightwell, maybe Gray. I think that's what's going to happen. But I think seeing Corbin against better talent will give you a better idea of what you got. So hopefully we do see it. Hopefully I'm wrong. All right. We got a couple more comments here from John. He says, it was only 10 cents. It's okay. And that's him talking about losing money on that pick. John says, imagine being at the family barbecue. You two suck. Both fired on the same day. You're in your day off. Yeah. John says, carrot cake, okay. Cheesecake, yuck. But I did have a good chocolate cheesecake once. First off, you can't say yuck to cheesecake. Ooh. Cheesecake is freaking spectacular. Chocolate cheesecake is also spectacular. But every single cheesecake is spectacular. I've had strawberry, blueberry, marble, raspberry. I've had caramel. I've had, you name it, pretty much, I've had it. Every single one of them, absolutely goddamn spectacular. I've never had a cheesecake I didn't like.
We need to stop talking about cheesecake.
Oh, cheesecake is so good. Alrighty, guys. So, like I said, I think the game is one we should be excited about. But we need to just be excited to a point. That's basically my whole thoughts on the game as a whole. Be excited to a point. Great offensive drive. Hopefully that's what we see all year long. If we're being honest with ourselves, probably not. They went against a bad defense. It was one drive. But it was nice to see him out on offense with this team and basically everything we want to do, boom, 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 done. Hopefully that is what we see. I'll be freaking ecstatic if we have an offense like that finally for the first time in who knows how long. But defensively, again, not upset. Very happy with how they played overall. But again, played against a bad offense. I think really we're not going to know what this team is until a couple weeks into the season. And I hate to be, the guy who's on the fence, so to speak, on them still. But I think it's going to take us a few weeks to know what we really have in the Giants this year because we got a weird schedule. There's not a lot of mid-tier kind of guys that we play. You look at the schedule, how it works off right off the bat. You got, obviously, the Dallas Cowboys. We don't tend to play well against them. Hopefully this is the year that changes that. We got the Arizona Cardinals, quite possibly the worst team in the entire NFL. We got the 49ers, quite possibly one of the best NFC teams. The Seahawks. That's when you start seeing it. Seahawks, kind of an average team. Dolphins, especially depending on who's playing quarterback, kind of an average team. Those are the weeks that we're going to know, I think, and that's beginning of August, what kind of team we have. Unless we go on a tear and start killing. Or get killed. Hopefully kill it. Kill it would be nice. It's like watching a Godzilla movie with you, Rob. Oh, you muted yourself. That's why. You muted yourself. Why'd you mute yourself? There you are.
That's a good question. I don't know how that
You
happened.
muted yourself. Why would you mute yourself? People want to hear you. It's a talk show.
I was here for the looks.
He's like, I'm the eye candy of this audio podcast.
People listen to look at me.
So, any final thoughts you want to share as well, Rob? Since you're muted.
Here it is. No, do it, son. I was very excited watching that drive. I was excited thinking about the drive, but like Drew and I already stressed, it was one drive. Here's to put it into terms. If the Giants play like that for the rest of the year, there was a tweet out there. Bobby Skinner talked about it, and I'm talking Giants. If Darren Waller, for that drive, played like that for the rest of this season, he would have over 10,000 yards.
I saw
excited because Darren Waller will not have 10,000 yards. And it was like, 160 touchdowns or something ridiculous. If we would play like that 50% of the time, we would win the majority of our games. And that's what we want to see.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to have 10,000 yards.
No. I was trying to point out the hypocrisy.
I know, but that's one of those ridiculous stats. It really was. So, before we get going, though, I just realized that we didn't go over yet. I can't believe we forgot one. I'm embarrassed to say it. We forgot to go over the man who's looking like, in some people's eyes, could be the freaking steal of the 2023 NFL Draft. 7th round pick, Jordan Riley, who had the highest grade. The highest grade. I saw a stat on Twitter. Again, this is Twitter, so some people have weird grading methods and all on this stuff here, had the highest grade of any rookie defensive tackle, and that's pretty crazy. So that was Will Wussel, and I saw the Giant Insider newspaper and podcast was the ones who retweeted it. Had it said a few anonymous NFC scouts ranked the rookie NFC East defensive tackles. Number 1, Jordan Riley. Number 2, Jalen Carter. Number 3, Mozzie Smith, who I believe has been injured actually, so he's not going to see any more Mozzie Smith for a while. But you're talking about 2 first-round talents. And yeah, you got a 7th-round pick looking better. Again, he's also not playing at the same quality because he's playing towards the end of the games, but he's looked good. He's not a guy that I still think is going to be a pass rusher ever. I think he's purely a run stopper guy, that big old body you put in the middle like that. But this is a guy that when we go over this roster later on this week, this is a guy that's turning some heads that we were talking at the beginning of the year about him being a practice squad kind of guy. He might make this roster. We'll find out Thursday. But like I said, I almost forgot. We got to give him his credit because he had another good showing back-to-back weeks now. He's turning some heads. You're kind of seeing national people even sort of talk about it as well. So that's always when you know you're doing good, when national people start talking about you in a positive light. And of course, I should point out the punter sucks. I can't help it. Every week, I'm like, God damn it, another touchback. But yeah, like I said, got to give Jordan Riley his props though. And they were talking about him overall. I think it was Swink I overheard one of the coaches talking about him. They were saying that when they were watching film on him, they were not impressed at all. He was not on their radar. They saw him work out, and they were like, "Whoa!" And
that man squats.
Well, here's the thing, though. No, I don't mean work out in the gym. Like they saw his professional workout day with Oregon. You know what I love when I hear that kind of stuff is I know a lot of people go, "Wow, the Giants found a diamond in the rough." I go, Oregon sucks. He's a really talented player, potentially, that is already making some waves in the NFL, and you couldn't do jack with him. Where people didn't want to go play. I don't think he even went to the combine. Like that's how low he was graded. Like everybody was like, who when the Giants drafted him. So, that's a very, very good pickup potentially for the Giants to get him as a 7th round pick. But, we'll have to see overall what happens. I will say this one other comment as well that I see here. JJ brings up a good point here because I've seen this rumor. Julian Okwariye, trade incoming, baby. Listen, I don't see that happening because I think they're going to want something for him. The Giants aren't going to want to give it up because this is another young kid. He's got a chance to be a starter. He's a kid who's not shown a lot of flashes yet, but he still was, a higher pick a couple of years ago. You got to keep in mind as well, his brother Romeo hates the Giants. And I think while Julian may not be the guy to make, to be able to have a say, obviously, in where he gets drafted, where he gets traded to, the Giants are going to want to talk to him first. And I think that's pretty obvious that they will do their homework on it. He says, if we do it for a 5th round plus pick, I'd say yes. Yeah, JJ, I'm with you 100% because our edge room sucks besides Thibodeau and Ojulari, but I don't see it happening personally. If it happens, great. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Giants are going to wait. They're going to go ahead and get 1 or 2 guys off the waivers potentially. But like I said, we'll have to see what happens there overall. All righty, guys. Couple of things that John.
Someone wrote an article 6 hours ago saying he could go to the Lions, but
yeah,
I didn't read it.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
John says, "No way, dude. Tastes like bad milk." He's talking about cheesecake. That's just insanity, John. Absolute insanity.
You got like cheese?
Seriously, who are you? I thought we knew you. No, we don't.
I thought we were friends.
All righty, guys. Appreciate you guys coming on here tonight. Before we go, as always, if you like the show, give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a bell if you're on YouTube.
Ding,
Share
ding,
it to
ding.
a friend. Went the trolley, clang, 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 went the bell. Damn it. going into musicals all over again. But yeah, like I said, just if you could, guys, we'd appreciate it. It's a good way of showing thank you to us. Another good way, if you do like the show and you want to, be a subscriber to one of our subscriptions there, you have that option, of course, as well at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Subscriptions start at just $5 a month. And then, of course, we also have the option for one-time sponsorships as well, which starts at just $3 at that point there. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. And with that, of course, guys, as always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, keep in mind, things will be changing here soon with the season coming. So best way, again, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit all that kind of stuff there so we know what's going on with the shows there. Again, we will be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. Oh, he loves my LinkedIn profile. He's on there all the time looking at my work history and all. Actually, I deleted all my work history and stuff. But yeah. So of course, we're afterwards, usually about an hour or two afterwards, we'll have it up on audio podcast for you guys here. Every single pretty much audio podcast platform known to man. Apple, Amazon, Spotify. So listen, if you're like me and you use Apple Podcasts for your podcast, but you use Spotify for your music listening, because that's what I do, feel free to subscribe both even. Go for it. They won't know. They don't care. All righty, guys. We will see you guys again on Wednesday night. Like I said, Wednesday we will go ahead and have for you the preview for the Jets show there for the Jets game. We'll have the Thursday. We'll have our guessing the 52-man roster show there. See how we are. Next week we'll have for you guys here a little bit different of a schedule potentially, because keep in mind, cut day is Tuesday next week. So we may change things up a little in the schedule. So like I said, man, hit those likes, hit those subscribes. That's how you find out when shows happen. Things are going to be happening a little fast, a little crazy here. All right, guys, we will see you again Wednesday night. Appreciate you guys listening as always. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
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 Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?